Hey, Cub fans! Thanks for joining us here on Cubs 24/7, where Randy talks Cubs. And I'm really excited to talk to you guys about Pablo Aliendo. Probably a name you haven't heard of, but he is on the Cubs' top 30 prospect list at number 27. And I just went through some of his numbers and watched some video on this guy. And we're going to probably see Pablo Aliendo. So I immediately wanted to get a video out so you guys can have an idea who he is. So let's go ahead, kick back. We'll talk a little bit about Pablo Aliendo, born May 29th, 2001. So he's 22 years old now. He'll be turned 23 May 29th of 24. So he's still a relatively young guy. Catcher, 6 foot, 170 pounds. So not the traditional large girthy type catcher. He looks more like an infielder, really. So he's different in that way. Right-handed hitter. The Cubs signed him in 2018 out of Venezuela for a $200,000 signing bonus. At the time, he grades out this way. He's a plus fielder with a plus arm. So he's they signed him as a defensive catcher. Below average run, a little below average power, and below average hit. So think of him in 2018 as a defensive catcher, and they just decided to see what happens. So, and it turned out that way. He played his first 2 seasons of professional ball in the short leagues. He spent 2018 and 2019 playing in rookie ball in the Dominican Summer League. So short season, didn't play a lot, but he didn't do much either. Played 76 games in those 2 years, and he hit below 200, hit 197 with a 323 on base, and he only slugged 273. So I'll describe it as anemic offensive production. Had 1 home run in those 2 years. Struck out 58 times, walked 27 times. So now he's 17 years old and then 18 years old when this happened in 2018 and 2019. But at this point, anemic, right? No power, not hitting for average, striking out too much, all the stuff. But meanwhile, he's catching, and he's really good behind the plate. 22, he didn't play. So he's 19 years old. He misses the whole season. In 2021, they go ahead and bump him up. It's his first shot at playing full season ball. So they start him out low A Myrtle Beach. He plays in 64 games, and when he plays, he catches. There's been a first base start. There's been maybe 2 or 3 of those along the way. But think of him, he's always been a catcher. So in 64 games with Myrtle Beach in 2021, his offensive production starts to show itself. 249 average with a 357 on base, and he slugs 366 for an OPS of 723. He hits 5 home runs in 213 at-bats. And at this time, this is when he has established himself, and I'll quote the Cubs brass on this, that he established himself as the best defensive catcher in the system. So what we have in Pablo Aliendo is the best defensive catcher we have in the farm system, anemic hitter, but all of a sudden he's starting to show some signs. So they bump him up to High A South Bend, where he plays 15 games for the South Bend Cubs. This is 2021. Doesn't go well. He goes 6 for 51. That's a 118 batting average. His on base was only 164, and his slug was 118. So that's awful. 281 OPS. I don't think I've seen numbers lower than that. 14 Ks, 3 walks. Again, 15 games, but didn't hit at all. Just 6 hits in the 15 games. So here we are, 2021, into the season in 2021. We've got this young guy, tremendous defensive catcher, but he's not hitting. But he's still young, right? So let's see what happens. 2022, he starts with the South Bend Cubs, and he plays the entire season with the South Bend Cubs, 2022. Catches 89 games. He has 318 at-bats. Well, here he comes. He hits .267 with a .336 on base and a .390 slug for a .726 OPS. He hits 7 home runs, strikes out 77 times, has 26 walks, and he knocks in 35 RBIs. He had a great season. The Cubs that year, the South Bend Cubs, won the Midwest League Championship, and Pablo Aliendo was a leader on that team. Interesting. 2023, starts and plays the entire season with the Smokies. Plays 91 games with the Smokies in 2A last year, has 321 at-bats. He hits .231 with a .332 on base and a .455 slug, his highest slug of his career. OPS just under 8 at .790. He hits 16 home runs and 61 RBIs with the Smokies. Just under 800 slugs, 16 home runs, 61 RBIs, hit .231, 91 games, and the best defensive catcher we have in the system. I got to tell you, that's intriguing, right? I mean, if you follow his path, he's getting older, he's getting stronger. 2024 is going to be really interesting to watch Pablo Aliendo. What's he going to do? If he continues on his path, on his growth path, he's probably going to play in Iowa this year. That would be my guess. 91 games with the Smokies last year, best defensive catcher in the system, 790 OPS in 2A. He's probably going to be Iowa. We're probably going to hear about him. Let's talk a little bit about what the defensive prowess he has. Well, how do they describe it? Well, he's smaller. He's 170. He looks more like a shortstop. So he's quicker and more agile than the average catcher. He's very flexible. He's got soft hands, and so he's a plus receiver and blocker. He's got solid arm strength, and they praise him for his game management and his leadership skills. So he's really, at this point, appears to be the whole package behind the plate. Question is offensive. So they describe him as having wiry strength, and his offensive production will determine sort of what his future is. The minimum or the floor of what they're talking about is a defensive-minded backup at some point. But if he continues on this path offensively, an everyday player, everyday starter. I watched some video on this guy, and the wiry strength, you can see it. In some of the videos that I saw, he hit home runs both to left field and to right field. So he's got opposite field pop, really good bat speed, just looks really good. So for us not even hearing about Pablo Aliendo, and it makes sense why we wouldn't, I think he's a tremendous prospect to keep our eye on in 2024. And situation we have, Jan is in his last year of his contract. Hopefully we got Miguel, who's gonna blossom. Maybe you're looking at Pablo coming up next. We'll see, but he's very intriguing. At the least, he's very intriguing. Pablo Aliendo. So we'll look forward to watching Pablo in 2024. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Glad to introduce you to Pablo Aliendo, and appreciate you hitting that subscribe button if you can. And we'll be back very soon. Go Cubs, go!